welcome back to another episode of the Truest Crime. This case is another Jane Doe, John Doe story. It is currently unsolved still, but the victims have since been identified and have been given a proper burial. But this case is kind of disturbing, and it left their infant daughter at the time without her parents, and that is really sad. And I genuinely want to be able to tell this story in particular just because it does involve parents having their lives taken from them and leaving their child with no parents. So let's get right into the case. So sit down, grab a snack, and let's take a deep dive into the Truest Crime. This case is about a couple by the name of Dean and Tina Klaus. They were known as the Harris County Jane and John Doe, and they had moved from Volusia, Florida, or Volusia County, Florida, to Louisville, Texas. And they had an infant daughter named Holly Marie, and this case took place in October of 1980. And there's not really much leading up to this case, but it's still pretty disturbing. There's not a lot of information leading up to this incident, but it has been stated by the family and the research that I have done that Dean and Tina just abruptly stopped communicating with both of their families, and their families had no idea what had happened to them because of the fact that they couldn't get in contact with them. And it was also said that Holly Marie, at the time when she was an infant, had also been missing alongside her parents, so they had no idea where Dean was, Tina, or Holly Marie. So at the time, all three were considered to be missing persons. There are unfortunately no perpetrators in this case, or that I could find at all. And for about 41 years, Dean and Tina were known as the Harris County Jane and John Doe. And they were laid in anonymous graves with the Harris County Jane and John Doe on their headstones. And they were found on January 12th, 1981. And this next part is where it's going to get a little bit graphic, and please just be prepared. This is talking about death, and it is just very, very disturbing. Dean's death was ruled blunt force trauma, and he had passed away from being struck with some sort of blunt force object. And Tina, her death was ruled a strangulation. And because of the fact that they may have had their baby with them at the time that they disappeared, there were no signs of Holly Marie at all. Her remains were not found near her parents. She just was nowhere to be seen while police were doing the investigation. And again, as I stated, for 41 years, their case would go unsolved, and it's still unsolved. But they're both identified as of now. They were identified as Dean and Tina Klaus in 2011. And for Holly Marie, thankfully, she was located in 2022 in Oklahoma. But the only thing is that she has no recollection of the events that had taken place. She cannot recall anything that happened to her parents, and there's obviously nothing for her to recall since she was so young at the time that it happened. There would be nothing for her to be able to say in remembrance of her parents. I personally am glad that nothing happened to her and that she was able to live a long, fulfilling life. My thoughts on this case are very limited just because, as I stated in the beginning of the video, there was not a lot of information for me to go on, so I was just using what was readily available to me on the internet. But my thoughts are obviously that it is very sad, and the fact that both parents were taken from this little girl at the time. It's really sad. And then she had to grow up not really remembering her parents and not really knowing what happened to them. And, it's a very sad case. And I feel for this family. I really do. I very much sympathize and empathize with that situation. It's one that I would never wish on anybody. My opinions on this case. One of my opinions is that I think that this was such a huge failure on the justice system because they went 41 years not being identified, not having a proper burial, not getting to, spend more time with their daughter. And, it's just, the justice system very much failed this couple. And even still, nothing has happened, no new leads, no confessions, no anything. And that's really sad because their daughter, now an adult, will never truly know what happened to her mom and dad. And that's even scarier because at the time she was a baby, so she didn't understand what was going on, and she didn't understand why her mom and dad never came home. And it's an awful thought. And another thing is that I still very much have the same opinion about how it's even more dangerous now with social media and, all the catfishing and things that happen on the internet because, people want to play God, essentially. And they, they'll talk to as many people as possible, but sometimes the catfish can be extremely dangerous. Or if they're not catfishing you and they say, certain things to you that make you think, oh yeah, they're a really, really good person. And then you go to find out they are not the same person that you thought you knew. And that reminds me of a case, and I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's the Dirty John case. And actually, I believe True Crime with Kendall Ray did a video on that case. And there's also a Lifetime movie about that case. So, that's why you gotta be so careful who you meet online. At least now in 2024. Back in the 80s, there was not a lot of, there was not a lot of ways to find out things about people. There's people can be targeted even walking outside back then. It's just, you really never know. This is where I leave the video for today. I really hope that this case didn't confuse you and that I wasn't all over the place. I really hope I wasn't. Again, the information was very limited, and I only was able to get what I had seen on the Wikipedia, and so, I really just hope that, this video wasn't confusing for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you liked the video, please don't forget to click the notification bell, as it will notify you every time I upload another video. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps me be able to make more videos for you guys. I really, really, really want to be able to make this content for you. And if you're subscribed to me, you will always know when I post a video, and I want to be in your feed. So please subscribe. Only if you want to, though. You don't have to, but it would really help me out. Alright guys, thank you so much, and I will see you on another episode of the Truest Crime.